Okay, so the first thing that you need to learn how to do before you can make a mandala is learn how to use a compass, this thing. And you're going to put your normal pencil into your compass. It just slides in. You can kind of see there's like a little part under here that you got to push up with the pencil and slide it in. You want to get it the same length as the metal pointer end, and then clamp it back down. And if you have a compass that is like super loosey-goosey, it's not going to work that well. So just trade it out for one that's not super loosey-goosey. And then what you're going to do is you're going to hold near the little pointed metal end, okay? And you can estimate the middle of your paper. It doesn't really matter for this practice part. And then you can kind of tell how big the circle wants to be by, you can halfway, you don't want to get off the paper. So just for the purposes of the practice, you're going to estimate where the middle is. You're going to hold the metal end, okay, pushing down on that metal end. And that's going to help it not open up as you try to make a circle. Okay, so I'm going to lower the pencil down to the paper, and then I'm going to tip it slightly in the direction that I'm going to draw. Okay, so tip it over slightly, and I like to spin the paper. Okay, so notice my compass is not moving, it's not opening up. A nice light circle. Okay, so one more time, and then you're going to practice it. So you're going to push down right near the paper with that metal tip end, and then you're going to lower the pencil down. It's like a little, I don't know, crane, and then tip it slightly in the direction you're going to start drawing, and all my force is going down into the metal tip so that it doesn't move around. Okay, and spin a circle. As soon as you start spinning, if you're getting a really messy circle, or it starts to open up and you get back around and it's not matching up, that just means that your compass is opening as you're spinning, because you're probably trying to hold it up here, and then as you move, the compass opens. Okay, so I strongly recommend holding down here so that there's no force pushing the pencil end out as you go along. Okay, so stop the video right here and try that before you go any farther. Okay, now that you know how to use a compass, we're ready to start on a rough draft of a mandala. Okay, so for the rough draft, you're going to be using either a page in your sketchbook or just scratch paper that's a rectangle. Okay, so it's a little bit different because the final draft paper for this project is square, and so I'm going to talk about both because it's going to change your measurements a little bit when you move to the square final draft paper. So for the rough draft, I want you to do this with me, follow along with me. Okay, I'm going to try to draw nice and slow. So first thing you want to do, and you're going to need an 18-inch ruler for this project. So you guys, these metal rulers, it's pretty awesome that we have them because they're expensive. Notice they have cork on the back. The cork is so that it doesn't slip around on your paper. Okay, please, 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 please do not pick at the cork on the back of the ruler. It's just going to ruin it. And also, do not bend these. They bend pretty easily. Please don't bend them. They become forever bent, and then it's hard to get them back, and then they won't sit flat on the paper. Okay, so first thing that you're going to do, you are going to draw basically a giant X from one corner to the other. And this is just on your rough draft, this is going to tell us where the middle of the paper is. So these lines are going to get erased. So because they're going to get erased, I am going to just, I'm not going to draw all the way across the paper. I'm just going to draw a little X in the middle, but make sure that you line up. I'm lining up the ruler with the corners of the paper. That's going to give me my perfect center. And then we can find the center of the paper. Okay, once you have the center of the paper, erase your X marks. Okay, and you just have the perfect center of your paper. It's a little different, so this is the part that is different on the final draft. For the final draft, you want to draw in your X corner to corner and then leave those lines there, okay? For all of your lines with your mandala, you want to draw so super lightly. I'm going to draw a little bit darker than I normally would because I need you to be able to see it on the video. So once I have my center of my paper, grab your compass, okay? Line up your compass with your center mark. And then I'm going to draw as big of a circle as I can on this rectangular piece of paper. So with my, like our technique that we just learned, my fingers are pressing down on the metal pointed end. I've measured to see how big of a circle I can make. Okay, so this is the halfway point. And then I'm going to tip my compass over just a little bit and spin my paper. Nice and light. Don't press down very hard, okay? So I've got one circle. I am going to clamp my compass down just a little bit and draw another circle. You want about 4 circles. You could do more if you wanted, but 4 will be plenty. So this part won't work until you really know how to draw a circle with your compass. So make sure that you know how to do that before you start this. Okay, and I'm going to clamp it down a little bit more, and I'm going to draw circle number 3. And again, you're drawing so lightly, you don't need to put any pressure on the pencil. Clamp it down a little more. And sometimes the smaller circles are actually a little bit harder to draw with the compass. Okay, so I've got 4 circles getting smaller as they move inside. If you have a little hole in the middle of your paper, it's okay, like I do. Okay, so first thing I'm going to do is I am going to just draw a circle, or sorry, a line through, making sure that I hit the middle of my circle. From one edge of the circle through the center to the other edge. Okay, anywhere, it can be anywhere. You won't have to do that when you're working on your final draft. You're going to have this X, okay, and you'll draw your concentric circles, and then you'll use one of these 2 lines that you have to start, okay? But because we don't have those lines on this one, because this is rectangular, if you kept those lines, if you kept your X on this piece of paper, it's going to mess you up. It's going to mess up the measuring that comes in with the protractor, okay? So right now I just have this single line across the center of my circle, and now I'm going to get out my protractor. And most of you have used a protractor in math at some point. Math and art actually have a lot to do with each other. So here we are using math in art, and it's pretty awesome. All right, so there is a little hole in the center of your protractor. You want to line that hole up with the center of your circle, okay? And then there's these little lines here that you should be able to see the center line that you drew across your circle. You should be able to see that and line it up, okay? Now, what we're going to do is we're going to make a little mark every 30 degrees. So do this with me, okay, everybody to this point. So you're going to make a mark every 30 degrees. So 30, 60, 90, 120, 150, okay? And then you're going to flip your paper over and you're going to do the same thing all over again. So line the hole up with the center of your paper. Make sure that the line underneath is, you can see this black line, and it should be resting on the line, your pencil line underneath. And you're going to make those marks every 30 degrees at 30, 60, 90, 120, and 150, okay? If on your final draft you were like, I don't want it every 30 degrees, I want it every 20 degrees, that's fine. You could divide your circle up into more pieces. Right now what we're doing is we're making pie pieces, okay? So now grab your ruler, and when you draw these lines, you just have to make sure that you have the center of the circle. You've got one little mark on one side and one little mark on the other, and you're going to draw from one edge of the circle through one of the marks, through the center of the circle to the other side. And you guys, all these lines are just guidelines. They're all going to get erased. So draw them super lightly, okay? All these lines that I've drawn so far are guidelines that will be erased. So one mark, center, other mark, all the way to the edge of the circle. One mark, center, other mark. Okay, so do that for all your pie pieces. And remember, you're trying to keep up with me, so keep moving. Okay, so here is my circle. I've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12 pie pieces, okay? And then I've got these circles that are going to act as guidelines. So this is your basic setup for a mandala, okay? And this is your rough draft. You want to make sure you can do this and have a good idea of how you're going to start your mandala before you move on to the final draft piece of paper, okay? So a mandala really just radiates out from the center point. So you can draw anything you want, okay? But it should kind of radiate out from the center point. And it can be more geometric or it could be more floral. It doesn't really matter as long as you use the lines that we've drawn as guidelines and it's radiating out of the center. So for example, I could do this sort of diamond shape, okay? And then whatever I put in this first one, I want to do in all of the pie pieces in the same way. And those guidelines are there really to help you measure how big the things are going to be that you're going to draw, okay? So this first circle is really helping me make sure that I get my diamonds all the same size, okay? And again, I'm drawing darker than you want to. You want to draw super lightly. Okay, so once I have that, then I can erase that first circle, I don't need it anymore. It's just there to help me get my diamonds the same size, okay, as each other. So right now, just watch me draw for a minute, and then you'll have time to do this part. So I have that's my first thing, and then you expand out from there, okay? And you can do anything you want again. Okay, say I want these little things inside my diamonds. And you're not going to draw your entire mandala on your rough draft. That would be a waste of your time. You just want to make sure that you have some idea of how you want to start it, okay, before you move on to your final draft. And notice those shapes were a little longer at the beginning, and then they got a little shorter. So I want to go back and just make them a little longer. And with mandalas, the name of the game is really precision and detail. Detail, 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 okay? The more detailed you can be, the better off. So once you have a good idea of where you want to go and how you want it to look, or at least how you want to start it, then you can start on your final draft, okay? But again, like I said, don't spend all your detail time working on your rough draft, because you'll want to spend that time on your final draft. Okay, so when you're ready to move on to your final draft, you're going to get this square piece of paper. Your very first step is to put that big X from corner to corner. Be super careful about getting it right into the corners, because these lines are going to become your 90 degrees. Okay, remember the first thing after this, you're going to draw your concentric circles, and then you're going to use your protractor, and you'll line this line up with the 90 degrees, and this line under here will be your baseline. Okay, and then you'll just start drawing and work outwards, okay? And one thing I did want to say is that, remember, these circles, those are your guidelines, that you want to think about those getting erased as time goes on. And you can sort of, let's see, how do I say this? Your designs that you're drawing, they don't all have to stay within the pie piece, okay? They can, for example, take over 2 pie pieces or something like that. So, for example, I could put my compass here. Let's see, maybe I'll put my compass here and then draw something like that. And then put my compass here. So there are things that you can do in your drawing that can extend a little bit farther, okay, than just a single pie piece, is what I'm trying to say. Okay, so something like that, and then this one didn't quite line up, so then I would just sort of fudge that a little bit. And this one's looking lower, so I'd adjust that so it's just going out a little bit farther or something like that. So, and then I could draw things within those. Something like that. Really whatever you want. And as long as you draw nice and light, you can always erase if you don't like what you've done. And then I did want to say that you're going to color these in colored pencil and outline your pencil lines in fine tip black pen. So I wanted to show that real quick. because I want you to use your new color blending skills at somewhere in this image. So again, I'm drawing darker so that you can see my lines. For example, okay, you used color blending with your pastel drawing, and now I want you to do it with colored pencil. So, and for the most part on these, I want really solid pressure, meaning nice and bold colors, not super light. But sometimes when you're color blending, you do want to use a little bit of light pressure where these two colors overlap. Okay. And this color blending technique is going to give your mandalas a lot of depth, is really the way that I think of it. So I'm blending these two colors, and if I blend these two colors in this section, then I would want to do it the same way in every section, same colors. Okay, so those two colors are blending together nicely. Remember, if you can't remember which colors want to blend, take a look at the color wheel at the front of the room. Okay, something like that. And I might go back in with this color and add just a little more. And then at the very end, once the whole thing is colored, I'm going to go in with my fine tip black pen and just trace over all of my pencil lines. And sometimes I might want a ruler, like these lines are looking not great to me. I should have done them with a ruler, but I'm hurrying for your sake. Okay, something like that.